Have you ever failed at setting a New Year's resolution? I'm going to guess that unless you are the most disciplined person on the planet, or unless you have decided to go against the stream and never set a New Year's resolution, that the answer to that question is definitely yes. I have failed at my New Year's resolutions. Do you get frustrated at failing at your New Year's resolutions? And do you wonder if there's a better way? Especially if you're the type of person that really beat yourself up when you fail. Here's my thought. I think that New Year's resolutions are, well, they're not designed to fail, but they almost always lead to inevitable failure. Here's why and what you can do about it. So, in case we're meeting for the very first time, my name is April Bragg, and this is the third time that I've recorded this topic. My audio lately has been awful, awful. So, I went and got a new microphone to see if that would solve it. But other than that, it might be some computer settings that I'm going to have to play with, and I feel like I am not qualified to do that. But let's talk about New Year's resolutions, why they do fail, and how what we can do instead that would actually really help us move towards accomplishing our goals. So, if you're joining, somebody says the reboot. Yes, this is the double and triple reboot. Also, tell me, how does my audio sound? I would love feedback on that because it has been truly awful lately. So, number one, I will tell you the only New Year's resolution that I 100% succeeded at, and that was this. About 6 or 7 years ago, I set the New Year's resolution to never set any more New Year's resolutions again. Nailed it. So that's the only time that I have kept a New Year's resolution is when I quit making New Year's resolutions. But here's why they fail. Think about it. We're starting with focusing on the some kind of problem that we want to solve. And when we're doing that, and especially if it's a problem that's like there's something wrong with me. Listen to how typical New Year's resolutions. I'm too heavy. I need to lose weight. I procrastinate too much. I need to be more decisive. I am not disciplined. I need to exercise every day. These resolutions are creating a battle in ourselves. In fact, it's like we're fighting against ourselves. In fact, in the very language of, I need to do something, there is something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with my life. And we're actually trying to force change by focusing on what we lack. It feels heavy, it feels hard, it feels demotivating. We're essentially saying there's something wrong with me and I need to fix it. This approach really misses the mark altogether because instead of fighting against our weaknesses, we want to actually work with ourselves, work with our strengths, work with our values, work with our passions, work with our desired future to grow into the truest version of ourselves. And when I say that, a lot of times people think, well, I need to, become a better version of myself. I don't think that. I think that right now, in this moment, you are doing your best in the very best way possible. And so that means that you are the best version of yourself for today. And also, we have this unlimited capacity to just keep on growing. It truly is possible to teach an old dog new tricks. Um, I At least that's how I live, and that's what I believe. I think that it's life's more fun that way if we believe that we could just keep on getting better, no matter what we're aiming at. So, what what if instead of focusing on problems, we focused on increasing potential and increasing possibility? So this is what I'd like to do instead of setting New Year's resolutions. I like to choose a word of the year. Instead of rigid resolutions, we'll choose a word or a phrase that inspires us. And then this word, this phrase can become a guiding light. It will then shape our actions and our mindset through the year. So here's an example of what I've done in the past. In 2023, my word was exquisite. In fact, I remember coming up with it. I had just joined a coaching program where they were working on, the coach was helping women become more confident. And she said, choose a word that would describe your style. And she made it clear that should be an aspirational word. And the very first word that came to my mind was this word exquisite. And I thought, well, that's a pretty far reach from where I am right now. Should I choose it? And when I asked her, she says, do you like the word? Does it feel aspirational? Does it feel like a stretch? And I said, yes. And she goes, then what are you concerned about? I'm like, that I might not be able to do it. And she's like, but that's the point of it. The you lean into your word, and it's not a do or don't do, it's a do and do better. So, exquisite challenged me to spend 2023 being more refined, more intentional, and honestly, choosing to believe that I was beautiful. And that's an odd one for us because we as women, sometimes we like to decide that, well, only certain women are beautiful. And I just don't think that that is the right way to look at that. I think that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and there is no downside to believing that you are beautiful. In fact, I think that when you believe that you are beautiful, you will treat yourself in a beautiful way. When you believe that you are beautiful, you'll also believe that other people are beautiful, and that beauty is not just, something that's defined by the makeup companies or the magazines or fashion, but it's something that we can appreciate about each other. Appreciate that this is the way that we are created, this is the way that we're designed, and let's take care of that. So, those are just a handful of the lessons that I had to kind of step into just in leaning into and growing in 2023 through the word exquisite. So in 2024, I wanted to grow my business. And I chose the word stretch. And that was a really great word too, because it meant that I had to make peace with being uncomfortable, as in I need to do things that caused me discomfort that I wouldn't naturally say yes to. In fact, I said yes to a lot more things than I normally would. And it worked. It stretched me. And the benefit of stretching was that my business grew. I grew. And in so many ways, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I just start going into 2024's lessons, we will be here all night. And like I said, this is the third time I've recorded this, and I am just ready to move on with my day. But I really wanted to get this out here for you. So for 2025, my word of the year is actually a phrase. And I thought about it for a really long time, and I played with the two or three, but they weren't landing like I wanted them to. And then this morning when I was journaling, I came up with easy and light. This phrase is inspired by one of my favorite Bible passages, Mark 11:28 through 30. And it says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I blanked out on the next verse, but it ends, and ye shall find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Easy and light. Easy and light is the way, is the path to finding rest for our souls. So that sounds like a wonderful thing. And it sounded like the perfect phrase for me, as personally, I am trying to increase in 2 different ways. I want to grow my business. So in my business right now, I want to grow my business and I want to become healthier. So in my business side, I work with women entrepreneurs who are wanting to create businesses that take care of them without burnout, businesses that are capable of growth without burnout. And so that involves me working with them one on one to create a business that where we just solve all the bottlenecks. We make sure all the pieces are in place for growth, and we make sure that the growth is grounded in their strengths and is not requiring something that is unsustainable. But so that's my high end. But on the other hand, I really am passionate about helping more women create a home that takes care of themselves because I just believe personally that there are better things to do than housework. But I also, well, maybe more exciting things to do, unless you're Martha Stewart and you love housework. But even then, she made a whole empire business out of it. That's fabulous. And that's actually how I am in that I enjoy creating business, talking about business, doing business, talking to entrepreneurs, meeting people, fashioning new things, creating content more than I enjoy housework. However, I am also a person that absolutely cannot work in chaos. And so I had to figure this out for myself just so that I could manage and so that I wasn't stressed out all the time. And because I wasn't natural at it, I figured it out and then I'm like, "Oh, other women are struggling with this. Maybe I should help them too." And so anyway, this is a program that I created 3 or 4 years ago, and, um, it took several women through it and then kind of moved on, and it just feels like this is the time to bring it back. I really feel like we have got some bright days ahead of us, but in order for us to achieve some of our greatest ambitions, we as women, whoops, touching my microphone, we as women need to have a sanctuary, need to have a place of rest, something that doesn't take up all of our time and all of our energy, but does re- rejuvenate. I don't know if that's the word that I wanted to use, but it'll work. Does reset us, does is a place where we can come home to. It feels like home, it feels like us, and then that equips us to get the rest that we need to go back out into the world and do the amazing, great things that are on our heart. So, my phrase for the year is easy light. Oh, the other thing was that I realized this is the year I really need to get serious about strengthening. I am in my mid 40s, if we consider mid 40s to be, if we expand the definition of mid 40s a little bit. And this is the time when women really do struggle with losing muscle mass. And so I just realized that if I don't make this a priority now, then I will seriously struggle with it in the future. And so, but strength training does not feel like it goes with the term easy and light. And but that's the magic of the word of the year. Strength training itself is not easy and light, not if you're doing it correctly. But the way that I go about it, I decided how can I make strength training easy and light? And for me, that looks like hiring a trainer that would show me how to do the moves properly, that I could show up to, and it was already scheduled in my calendar. And I didn't have to figure it out myself by watching a bunch of little YouTube videos or, wondering if I'm doing enough in this area or not enough in that area. Hiring somebody to help me make strength training easy and light. That is the way that I did it. So that is my phrase, and that is how I'm applying it. Now, let me break it down for you and how you can find your word and why it works, and then how you can apply it. So, a word of the year works because it is more positive and future focused. Like I said, New Year's resolutions, usually start with the words, I'm going to stop doing this. Um, Instead of addressing what's wrong, the word invites you to embody, to lean into what's possible. Number two, not only is it positive and future focused, it's flexible. Like I said, when I'm using the word exquisite, this today was what exquisite looked like, but tomorrow exquisite might look like a level up or easy and light. It's not like, you know, yes, you conquered easy and light today, and tomorrow you failed it. No, no. We just get better and better at living out what that word means to us. Excuse me. And then three, secondly, not only is it flexible, but three, it's motivating. It inspires action. It's a word, usually like an adjective, that connects with us emotionally. It maybe hints at our values or our desires, but it motivates us to move towards those values and desires, and instead of tying us back to fear or shame. Here's an example of how I used this concept uh, years ago, how this mindset really changed my life. So I used to struggle with being late all the time. It's quite frustrating, not only to me, but to my husband. And I'd be rushing around, but as I was going out the door, I'd always be trying to squeeze in one more thing. And the problem was, so I would leave, quote, on time, which was super tight because I'm trying to be really, really efficient with my time so I'm not late. And that was my thought. I need to be more efficient with my time so I'm not late. So I'd rush out the door, get in the car, and then be all stressed at every red light or every person that was going 5 minutes below the or 5 miles below the speed limit. I mean, who are these people? Don't they know that I've got places to be? And then I would get to my destination. I'd be stressed, and it just wasn't pleasant. Not for me, not for my kids who are usually in the car with me. And I kept on thinking, what is wrong with me? And then my sister in law had newborn twins. And I watched as she would still get to places on time, even after the birth of her newborn twins. And I'm like, okay, listen, if she can do it, then I can figure this out. What is she doing differently than me? And I realized she's not trying to be efficient with her time. She is aiming at, she doesn't want to feel rushed. So she is not trying to squeeze more in. She is actually giving herself more time. She is giving herself an abundance of time. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try that. And guess what? Instead of me not getting stuff done, I did still get all the stuff done. I just got it done easier. And I started to enjoy the ride to my destination because I had extra time built in. And then when I would get to my destination, I would be in a better frame of mind, which would actually make me more productive in whatever way it was. And so it's just interesting that when I was trying to solve for not enough time, need to be more efficient, need to not be late, it wasn't working for me. But when I just leaned into what if we could just be more relaxed on the journey, the literal journey in this case, then I need to leave earlier and give myself plenty of time. And I found that I truly enjoyed this. In fact, I would start giving myself extra plenty of time. And then I would enjoy taking a few minutes in my car to, like maybe check out social media or check out my emails or answer a text or finish a podcast that I was listening to. Totally changed when I focused on relaxing. That is the power of a word. So lean into the flavor of the year that you want. So here's the one question that you are going to want to ask yourself to find your word of the year. And be creative, trust your intuition on this. There is no wrong answer. Well, maybe the wrong answer is if you pick something that feels harsh or terrible to you, that beats you up some way. That is on the negative side of things. That's the exact opposite of this video. But here's the question. If I could describe how I want to feel in 2025 in one word or phrase, what would it be? So that is either how I want my year to feel or how I would want to feel. If I could describe in one word or one phrase how I want 2025 to feel, what would it be? So for me, when I asked that question, I wanted to feel easy and light. And I'll be honest, the other side of my mind came back and said, easy and light, you won't get anything done. And it's like, but I know that's not true. Actually, easy and light will require me to pursue my goals in a more deliberate, more higher thinking way. How do I do this while not being stressed? How do I build muscle without feeling like it's really, really hard, even though it requires lifting heavy weights to build muscle? So ask yourself, what is your word? In fact, I would love to hear it. If you already know your word, put it in the comments below. If you don't, come back or go ahead and just pause the video and think about it for a second. But what would your word for 2025 be? And then here's how you use your word. 3 different things that I want you to do with your word. Once you find your word, well, before I tell you those 3 things, let me remind you. Once you find your word, ask yourself, does this word inspire me? Does it feel like I am stepping deeper into my truest self? If that is true, then that is your word. It might scare you a little bit, like it did me when I chose the word exquisite. I'm like, whoa, exquisite. Like, yeah, that's going to take a little bit of living into. I might have to get a new lipstick for that. But does it inspire you? Does it call forth more from you? Then it's a great word for you. Okay, now 3 ways to use your word in 2025. Number 1, this is a big one. You're going to want to anchor it, as in write it down, put it on a sticky note, put it on your mirror, put it where you can find it, write it down, put it maybe on your phone wallpaper, anchor it. If we don't remember the word, we cannot lean into the word. This is half the problem with our New Year's resolutions. We just forget that we said them. We need to make sure that we remember this word. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could just be a sticky note, or it can be as complicated, it could be as unique as you want it to be. Use your creativity. You could, I think one year my daughter got one of those bracelets, those rubber bracelets or whatever, and she got it with a custom phrase on it to remind herself all year long of something. You could totally do that. Get a bracelet and have it engraved on it. Do something creative, do something unique, do whatever feels like it fits you. But anchor your word, anchor your phrase in. Number 2, you're going to want to live it now. Use your word to guide your decisions and guide your actions. For example, if your word was something like peaceful, you could ask yourself, does this choice bring peace into my life? And be honest. And if it doesn't, then look for a different choice, look for different options. What other perspective could I have about this? What if it's possible to feel peaceful even in this? What would I need to do? What would I need to change? But use your word. And the more you use it, the more you'll notice that it's just perfect for you. And then uh, the third way to use your word for 2025 is to journal about it. I talk about journaling all the time. There are so many different types of journaling. I journal prayers, as in I pray out loud to God in my journal. I have conversations with my own soul, like, what is it that you're really feeling and believing, and, digging deep, what are you afraid might happen? I just pretend that there's a part of me that just is always wanting to hide from the world, and it's my job to bring her out. So those are my soul conversations. But journaling, as in what did I do today to live out my easy and light? Or what did not feel easy and light? And why didn't it? And that is the way that you can use your journal to really live out your word and track, how am I coming and living out this word? But what is your word of the year for 2025? I would love to hear it. Again, just put it in the comments below. And also, I do want to share this. If this approach resonates with you, and if 2025 is the year that you are looking to, maybe it is your home that you're trying to make easy and light, or to streamline so it doesn't take up so much of your time, or so that it finally becomes the sanctuary you always planned it to be, or it finally becomes the home where you feel comfortable hosting all your friends. And you don't want to do that alone. I am going to put the link in the comments below for my private membership for women who are interested in creating a home that takes care of itself in 2025. If you're an entrepreneur that is wanting to do that same work with your business, but in a one-on-one level, then you'll have to message me, and then I can we can talk in person. But I hope this video has helped you. If you'd like to go deeper, there is a private membership that you can join, and I'm very, I'm very excited about 2025. Not because I have such big plans or because something big is changing in my life, but because I just have plans to do more of the same. So I think that that is my hope for you, that 2025 is a year that is filled for you with more clarity, more ease, more alignment, and where you feel more confident bringing your gifts, your calling, your unique talents to the world in a bigger, brighter, bolder way. Let's make it the best year. Okay? All right. Any questions? I'm going to head to the chat and see if anybody's got any questions. I always forget to say you can ask questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, then put them in the chat. If you come up with a question after the video is finished, I'll try to circle around and comment on it. But I think that's all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.